From Wall Street to Main Street, this is Lalate.
It's a big evening of evenings, Lalate, with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. With that fourth check landing in viewers' hands, all the latest details on where it is, and that MSC check from third stimulus dropping as well. We'll have a lot of breaking news in tonight's primetime show for March 26, 2022 on America's most watched show in primetime for financial news. In this first stimulus check update of 2022, we look at the Build Back Better Act and why the President of the United States still believes it's going to get done. The huge news tonight across the board. Then we look at the developing details across the land. When we look at the CR for stimulus going for another round, you need to know the latest details today. Then we'll be turning to the breaking developing details that are unfolding about that SS300 to raise your benefits up before those interest rates come down. Oh boy, we got a lot of breaking news on this one tonight. Then we look at the big developing details of that third stimulus MSC check. Yes, it's landed. It's a third stimulus and it's MSC check. In addition to the fourth stimulus, Build Back Better MSC check. Then fourth stimulus checks of $15,000 to $80,000 have landed. Have you gotten it? All the latest details as well. Then we look to sixth stimulus caused by Vladimir Putin. It's the biggest stimulus package you ever seen in the history of this channel for wheat, grain, oil, commodities, and also the banking industry. But of course also for you. We have all the latest details on that tonight across the board and what you need to know. Then we look to the changing developing details across the board on that sixth stimulus package and the seventh stimulus package. It's a huge night with so much money at hand, and we're not stopping there. Seven stimulus heating up as well. Yes, the President of the United States set to make an announcement about that seventh stimulus package by May 2nd. It's a viewership galore in tonight's recording. We can go over those third stimulus MSC checks, which have now landed, the fourth stimulus checks, which have now landed, and then this stimulus. When will that happen? The latest details on that SS300, sixth stimulus, Putin stimulus, and then a seventh stimulus, student loan debt forgiveness. The huge money, the huge details, everything you need to know from the shores of Santa Monica to the shores of the Black Sea. It's America's most watched show in prime time for a reason. Big money coming to the viewers of this channel, and the big money can come to you if you tune in right now and stay to the very end, because we have a big surprise at the very end. It's a big night, and it's a big pot of money, and the exciting details start on evenings. And good evening, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful evening for March 26, 2022. Breaking developing details across the land. As those four stimulus checks have now landed in viewers' hands, $15,000 to $80,000 of four stimulus checks. They're law, and they've landed. Have you got to them? All the latest details in tonight's recording. Then we look to those incredible MSC third stimulus checks, which have landed as well. Average viewer of this channel has gotten 1 year of $2,000 a month checks. It's huge. Then we'll be turning to the latest developing details of six stimulus caused by Putin, the Progressive Alliance of the White House, the France leadership of Macron, and the German Chancellor getting that six stimulus package lined up for early April. Have the latest details on that. Then we'll be looking to what's happening with the big developing details of six stimulus, wheat, grain, oil, and major developing details as the president is set to return from Belgium by the end, Brussels by the end of today. All the latest details on that front. Then we look to seven stimulus. Yes, this is student loan debt forgiveness. Huge developing details, which with a May 2nd date set by the White House to get this seven stimulus package done. And this is for student loan debt forgiveness, either forgiven or extending the deadline for the repayment. Whoa. We have a huge recording tonight. I'm excited you're tuning in, and stay to the very end because I have a big surprise for my membership viewers. It's coming up and later in this video. But first, let's start, of course, with the fourth stimulus Build Back Better bill, not law yet, in the Senate. big checks, lots of checks, amounting to about $15,000 to $80,000 of checks. Let's look at them across the board. 3 classes and 3 add-ons. Get your pen and paper ready. Here we go to the incredible money. Hazard Pay got in there for 1 more year for my essential workers. The Earned Income Tax Credit. $3,600 for the children got in there. The CTC 1 more year. $4,000 of elder care got in there. $4,000 of care for young children. $550 checks for the Pell Grant got in there as well. How about $12,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle? Yes, that got in there as well. Plus home repairs if you live in a local community. Incredible sums of money. And that is the first of 3 classes in the Build Back Better Act. The first add-on comes from the shores of Southern California. Maxine Waters got it in there. Just a little bit less than $25,000. You need this because this is money for the purchase of your first home given to the seller. And your name at the time of escrow, well, it's huge and it's very important. If you in the breaking developing details I have for you in just a second. Then when we turn to the second cluster of checks, we got more money for the home as well. In that second cluster, we have home repairs to weatherize your home. These are to weatherize the home like natural disasters, fire and hurricanes. Then paid leave. This is if you have to stay home from work due to sickness or illness. How much does it pay? A lot of money. If you make $70,000 or more per year, it is $1,700 a week. If you make $35,000 or more per year, it is $800 a week. Split in half. If you make $15,000, yes, $400 a week. W-2, 1099, you all get these incredible sums of money. It's huge. And it's up to 4 to 6 weeks per year. So that's about $46,000. If you don't work, but your son or daughter does work, they're going to get the check for the household. Incredible. Now let's turn to that second add-on of checks. Wow, a little bit less than $250 billion for free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. Joe Biden made a campaign promise and it got it in there via Bob Casey. Turning to the third cluster of checks in the Build Back Better Act, seniors and free internet. Free internet for all checks, farmers checks, independent contractors checks, and then seniors getting lots of checks, dental checks, hearing checks, vision checks, then lowering the eligibility age of Medicare from 65 to 55. And then the Medicaid gap fix, providing a workaround plan that will provide insurance to uninsured people in those 12 Republican holdout states, which is par for the course when we're talking about adding checks to the Build Back Better Act. The third add-on of checks would, of course, be those checks that come out from IRS. And what are they? You know the name. It's right in the live chat right now. It is MSC, Monthly IRS Stimulus Check. This is a check sent out from IRS to you on a monthly basis. Who would get it? Well, the legislators represent the viewership of this channel. Single individual, 75,000 or less, you get it. Married couple, 150,000 or less, you get it. Double it. Family of 4, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, or railroad benefits, you get as well. It is not income. It's not taxable. It's nationwide, not state by state. And it's also paid out to adult dependents. It's huge, and there you go. Goes off the most recent tax return. So if that tax return had a direct deposit account listed, that's how you get paid otherwise in the mail. Which is par for the course for adding checks to the Build Back Better Act. But let's take a breather to recap where we are tonight on the breaking news. The breaking news tonight is that what you just heard was the Build Back Better's fourth stimulus add-on of MSC checks. That's different than what's paying out right now. And what's paying out right now is not fourth stimulus MSC checks, but third stimulus MSC checks. It's huge. And how do you get them? They're coming up in just a second. And while the fourth stimulus Build Back Better Act is a bill, not a law, and proposes monthly checks of 6 months at about $1,000 a pop, the third stimulus MSC check that the members of this channel have been getting is not 6 months. It's averaging at 12 months. And it's not averaging at 1,000. It's averaging at 2,000. How do you get it? Become a member and stay with me because it's coming up later in this video. Also coming up later in this video is the fourth stimulus add-on law. Yes, Build Back Better Act, not law yet, still in the Senate as a bill, but the President of the United States has the ability to pass laws in the executive branch, and he did. 4 weeks ago, he passed an incredible piece of legislation that's paying $15,000 to $80,000, and it's a fourth stimulus add-on. It's a law, and it has paid, and I'm going to show you how to get it. The membership of this channel has averaged out about $60,000. It pays to $15,000 to $80,000. Now let's take a step back 3 weeks ago, a continuing resolution passed by the Congress to pay for the funding of the government for a few more weeks till about September, but had no money in there for COVID, and the president was not happy. So when the president returns from Brussels this week, he's likely to start up this big second CR, because guess what? The dominant strain in the United States in a few days will be the subvariant to Omicron, and that's caused a lockdown in some parts of China, and the president wanted some money for COVID. He got nothing. So he's coming back with another piece of legislation that could potentially have room for a $2,000 stimulus check. The CR that passed 3 weeks ago got money for county stimulus in there across the board. Reach out to your local county to see if your county was one of the winners for that money. Now, huge big details, which is that Fed SS300 push and pull. What's at issue? Joe Biden, when he was ready for president, promised to raise your benefits up if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, and veterans benefits. How? By replacing COLA with inflation. Let's go over the analysis. COLA is a benchmark for your benefits, and COLA doesn't move. It came in at 5.9% next year, but it doesn't generally move, and that's why your benefits generally don't change year to year. Inflation's always relatively a good number. This year, it's hot. How hot is it? It's the highest price point of a generation, as I predicted last year. Tracking at 8% in December, as I predicted. The Fed had said it was going to come in at 1 to 2%. They were wrong. And they also said it was going to be transitory, 1 month, and come back down. They were wrong. So I said you want to swap that COLA for inflation right away. Let's go over the breaking details on that right now. Inflation tracked at 8% in the month of December. Good. If you swap COLA for inflation, then you would raise your benefits up to $200 a month. Well, what happened in January? It also tracked at 8%. Good. We're still fine at swapping it out. What's happening in the month of February? Well, we're a little bit out still from waiting for that February data. But here's what you need to know is that it's likely 8% still through at least mid to late April. I'll tell you why. Because number one, the U.S. bond traders are trading up the 10-year Treasury note, believing inflation is just as hot or hotter, 8%. Number two is that whatever Jay Powell does, it takes about 30 days to filter through the system. And who is Jay Powell? He's head of the Federal Reserve. His job is to reduce inflation. How does he reduce inflation? What he does is he raises interest rates, and by doing that, he hopes to reduce inflation. What is his choices of what to do? Half basis point, a quarter basis point, multiple meetings or less meetings. And so 30 days ago, he said, I'm going to do over the next 5 meetings a quarter basis point. Good. Weaker. But what did he do? Well, starting in March, he, of course, at that FOMC meeting last week, did a quarter basis point, and he said that's where we're going to come in initially. Then, in the days that followed last weekend, Bullard, Wallace, and other Fed governors under Jay Powell said that was too weak. We should have been more aggressive. Suddenly, Jay Powell pivoted, and what did he do? He said we need to do something a little bit potentially more aggressive. He did not anchor into any promise, but it signals that he's likely to do 50 basis points at the next meeting. Let's go over his comments that came after that FOMC meeting. At the National Association of Business Economics, he says, in particular, we conclude the appropriate move aggressively by raising the Fed fund rates, maybe more than 25 basis point. We will do so. And basically, his comment is that if we determine that we need to trigger beyond common measures or neutral and be more restrictive, we will do that as well. Translation, he's not promising he's going to do more aggressive, but he's likely to. So let's assume he does. Let's assume Jay Powell comes in more aggressively in April and a half basis point, not a quarter basis point for March. Are we good? We're still good because it takes a month for it to filter into the system. So hashtag Joe make the phone call. Joe make that phone call to the Social Security Administrator head and swap that COLA to inflation. We're fine if Joe makes the phone call in March. We're fine if he makes the phone call in April. We're not particularly fine yet for May because we don't know what Jay Powell's doing. Now, what about the end of the year? This is where we get into the next part of the equation. If Joe makes a swap today, you raise your benefits up $200 a month. Not just this month, and not just this year, a lifetime. What about the 100 to the SS300? That's the end of the year. Earlier this year, we were told by Jay Powell that he wanted to get inflation down to 4% by the end of the year. Good. That's about another $100 more per month. That's SS300. But what did Jay Powell say at that FOMC meeting last week? Well, he said that he's looking to get inflation down to 1.9%. Myself and analysts do not believe he can do it. In fact, a lot of the stuff that I think Jay Powell's saying he can do, we don't think he can. Why? We do not believe Jay Powell can reduce inflation as aggressively as he thinks he can, because inflation now is not caused so much by interest rates. It's actually caused by another factor, and that is the supply chain. The ability to get the products from China and Russia internationally and other products, and that's what's potentially sending us into massive inflation. And if that's the case, if I'm right and Wall Street's right, that whatever Jay Powell does in the month of April would not negate the ability for that SS300. Huge news across the board. The other big, huge news, which is teeing up, is that the Build Back Better Act now has new push, and that new push is the housing market. All the latest details on that after the commercial break. And of course, after the commercial break, we have those big third stimulus MSC checks, which have now landed. I'm going to show you how to get them. And those fourth stimulus MSC checks, which have now landed as well. But let me give you a preview. Third stimulus became a law last year in January 2021. And you may have gotten a third stimulus check of $1,400. Well, you can now get MSC third stimulus checks on top of that. Yes. How much are they averaging out? They're averaging out $2,000 a month for 12 months. What do you have to do? You have to listen to the second half of this video, because it's an effort you need to make, and you can do it, because countless viewers have. I'm going to go over the incredible success stories. No less than countless dozens of viewers every single day send me messages saying, thank you. I got that MSC check. I got that third MSC check. Let's recap. This is third. It's not fourth, and it does not replace. It's an addition to everything else that you've gotten or will be getting in the future. It's huge. And how do you get it? First, become a member at the top of the chat or under the pinned comment, because it details all the places you want to reach out to. And you're going to clean up, as viewers have. One viewer getting $150,000 of MSC checks. Then, in the second half, after the commercial break, we're going to go over those fourth stimulus checks that have now landed. Let's explain that as well. Build Back Better Act is a bill that is not law yet. It is currently in the Senate. But as it sat in the Senate 4 weeks ago, the President of the United States, in the executive branch, not the legislative branch, passed a law. How did he pass the law? With his pen and paper as executor. He can do that in the executive branch. And what did he do? He passed a homeowner's grant, which pays $15,000 to $80,000. Now, hold up. If you're a renter saying that's not for me, guess what? I got money for you. Third stimulus MSC checks is for renter and homeowners, number one. The homeowner's money is $15,000 to $80,000 for homeowners, number two. And which ones are for people who make $75,000 or less? All of these. Which one is for people who are on benefits? All of these. Which ones are these for you? All of these. And they're coming up in the second half of this video. I'm so excited for you. And then we have a look forward, a look to the future, as the channel approaches its 2-year anniversary in just a couple of weeks. We'll have all the incredible details looking back and looking forward of what we've learned as a community, and a preview of all the excitement coming up for the show's and this channel's big anniversary. But in the second half of this video, all those incredible sums of checks and more. Plus, we'll be looking at that 6th stimulus package coming in April. Then, the 7th stimulus package, which is the student loan debt forgiveness, coming in May 2nd. Huge. And then we'll have a recap of what's going on with Build Back Better, because guess what? A new push is coming from an unlikely core. And that core is the housing market. Wow. We'll have a recap back to that Build Back Better and why it's now heating up in a new round across the board. It's a big night from the shores of Santa Monica to the shores of the Black Sea. It's America's most watched show in prime time, and the second half of this video and the second half of Evenings Lalate comes up in just a second. Stay to the very end, as I have a big surprise for you at the very end as well. But first, here's a little bit about the members community page. Oh boy, we got a big show tonight. Stay with me. I'll see you back in 60 seconds as Evenings Lalate continues. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join Lalate Daily for the excitement of the new Lalate live daily. The excitement starts on mornings Lalate at 9 a.m. Home Lalate returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons Lalate at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on Lalate. And the excitement continues in the big second half of an Evenings LA broadcast from March 26, 2022. From the shores of Santa Monica, California. Boy, we have a big second half. And I'm excited you're here. We're going to go over those third stimulus MSE checks and how you get them. Huge details. Those fourth stimulus checks and how you get them as well. 15 to 80,000, both of which have now landed. We'll be looking at the changing, developing details of that sixth stimulus package. It's Putin-caused stimulus. And why you want to stay in touch with this one, because this is the biggest payout you ever see in this channel. It's the biggest stimulus package of a generation. And it's solve wheat, grain, oil, and other issues like the banking industry as well. It's coming up in the second half of this video. Then we'll be looking at that student loan debt forgiveness. It heats up with 7 stimulus. And on May 2nd, we'll see the finality, potentially, of it. Huge developing details as we count it down. And then, of course, everything else you need to know and a preview of a big birthday celebration. Plus a surprise for members in the later part of this video. Stay to the very end. But first, let's go over where we are tonight. Number 1, a new series of comments from the White House signals they may have a new push for the Build Back Better Act. The push comes from a series of unlikely sources. Number 1, from the oil shortage. As the oil shortage continues to grow, the legislators are using that as a reason to get Build Back Better passed. Contradicting, perhaps, because the oil is part of the sixth stimulus package. Also, the new push for Build Back Better Act today is, of course, the housing market. The housing market is a new calamity to Vladimir Putin's acts of aggression because guess what? The housing market fell 4.1% in new home sales for the month of February compared to January, and that was the fourth consecutive month to decline, signaling that we could be heading into stagflation for the market. That's the housing market, including at issue is the current mortgage rates are surging out of control. Like the 30-year fixed mortgage, significantly higher than a week before, 24 basis point higher to 5%. If you can't afford to buy a home, then guess what you need? You know the answer. You need the Build Back Better Act, which has all those incredible clauses about home items, like the home repairs, like the weatherize your home, like the $25,000 for the purchase of your first home. That is why Build Back Better Act may get the benefit of this housing problem. And the housing market, in my opinion, is going to get much worse by the minute, by the hour. CR is getting very exciting because guess what? Joe Biden got this right. He needed money for COVID, and he got no money for COVID. Now the subvariant for that Omicron is now the dominant strain, potentially in the United States in just days. And that comes as Jen Psaki, his press secretary, said if we had the money to move on it, we would be moving on it. Our assessment is we need additional sums of funding. My biggest concern at this point is that we have to get something supported by 10 Republicans in the Senate, says Representative Raj Kamurian, Democrat out of Illinois, signaling that we don't have another recon lined up. What are we going to do? All the latest details on that next week. And then, of course, the Fed Reserve with those big guidance that are confusing people. Ultimately, when we talk about that SS300, we want Joe to make that swap right now because guess what? Jay Powell says. In the meantime, as we set policy, we'll be looking to actual progress on these issues with near-term supply chain side effect. Fascinating part across the board. But what's really incredible is tonight I have a lot of money for you, and it starts right now. First, I'm going to go over the 2 items that are landing at the same time, and then I'll go over each of them one at a time. 2 items of checks are landing today in people's hands. They are MSCs from third stimulus, averaging at 12 months at $2,000 a pop. It's huge. Then also landing are 4th stimulus checks of $15,000 to $80,000. It's astronomical. So how do you get them? First, you want to become a member, but get that pen and paper out and take notes with me. Here we go. For stimulus, Build Back Better Act is a bill. It's in the Congress, but the bill is not law yet. So where are we right now? Well, 4 weeks ago, the President of the United States said, I'm going to pass a law. I don't need Congress, and he did. It's the homeowner's grant for purposes of this video. That's what I call it, and it pays out $15,000 to $80,000. So let's pause right there. This is not Build Back Better. It's an add-on, and it is law. So people ask you, for stimulus, I thought it's not a law yet. No, this is law. It came from the president. First, what is it called? For the purpose of the video, it's called the homeowner's grant. But become a member. The link is at the top of the channel, pinned comment, because this is where you're going to get the money. In that membership newsletter, I feature the complete name of the grant. Let's go over broadly what's going on. First, it's a grant, meaning you don't have to repay it, meaning it's not income. It's $15,000 to $80,000 per household. Huge. That means that if you're a family of four, family of two, you don't double it like a stimulus check. $15,000 to $80,000. Has it been sent out by Joe Biden? It has. Has viewers gotten it? They have. The average viewer of this channel is tracking about $66,000 to $80,000. The rest of the viewers have their applications in and complete. Is it nationwide? It is. It absolutely is. But it's not indefinitely at funding because it's been live now for 4 weeks and a few days. So some states will eventually run out of the funds. So let's go over all the incredible details. First, who qualifies for this money? Same people who got a third stimulus check. Single individual, $75,000 or less, that's your income qualification. Married couple, $150,000 or less, that's your income qualification. If you're on benefits, can you get? You can. SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, congratulations, you can get it as well. And then if you're an adult dependent, you can get it as well. Congratulations. So what's the last remaining eligibility issue? It's that you have to own a home. Yes, this is a homeowner's grant. Now pause up. If you're a renter, stay with me because I got your renter's money coming up in just a second. So how do you get this money? First, go to the top of the chat or the pinned comment. Become a member. Number two, get that membership newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. Open it up, and right at the top of it, it first features the wheat, grain, and oil prices today, and then right under there is the homeowner's grant. It first features the complete name of it. It's longer than the homeowner's grant. It's a longer name. Number two, it features the income qualification we just went over. Then it features what you can use the money for. Incredible. Like home repairs, other items as well, featured in the membership newsletter. Then it shows you the most important part, how to get the money. A link to go right in and apply. It's an online application you can do over your phone or do over a computer. You click the link and it goes into the national website, which routes you to your state. And you want to pounce, Purple Hawks, because it's first come, first serve. It is $15,000 to $80,000. When you do the application, it'll tell you you're complete and you're going to get funded. Huge, and that's what viewers have gotten. You do not want to wait around. So if your state is, for example, pink, you don't want to wait because it means they're receiving the applications. And as soon as they open the payment portal, you will be first in line to be paid. Every day that passes, another series of thousands of people in your state get in front of you. So you don't want to wait around, make a phone call, make a check, make a look, ask the guy at the taco stand, did he do it? No, you want to apply it right away. So you don't want to wait. Become a member right now and apply. Get that application on file. It is called the homeowner's grant. It is $15,000 to $80,000. It is first come, first serve, and while every state is delineated in a color here, the colors change by the hour, and the states will eventually run out of money. $15,000 to $80,000 for stimulus law, homeowners grant. Become a member, link at the top of the chat, pin comment, get those incredible sums of money. And then I have a surprise for you coming up later in this video. Oh boy, stay with me. Yes, a big surprise about this. Next. If you're a renter and watch that and say, well, I'm a renter, I don't qualify for that. Don't worry, because I got you money. And what do I have? I have third stimulus MSC checks, which are available for all the viewers of this channel, renters and homeowners. Yes, if you just got that other item for homeowners, you can get this as well. Let's take a look at what we're talking about here. We are not talking about forced stimulus. So the Build Back Better Act will become a law. This is before that. It already is law. It became a law in January 2021. It is third stimulus, the third stimulus package, and it is MSC checks. First, let's go over how much it is. It is averaging about 12 months at $2,000 a pop, number one. How do you get it? Become a member. The link's at the top of the chat in the pinned comment. Number three, what's at issue? This involves you picking up the phone and getting these items. So unlike what we just went over with those $15,000 to $80,000 of forced stimulus checks, where you go to one website, this involves you making a phone call. and you're making the phone call for the following items. If you've been with this channel since day one, you've done this before. Rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage utility assistance because of COVID, and similar. Yes, it's for renters, so your rent, your utilities, all your utilities bills. It's for homeowners, like your mortgage and your other bills, like utilities. It's huge. So what do? You open that membership newsletter or you follow along with me right now because this is huge. And what you're going to do is you're going to get all these incredible sums of money, and it's absolutely astronomical and important to get them one at a time. Here you go. You ready? Where do you reach out to? You're going to reach out to the following 6 places to start with. Your city hall and your city house authority. Your county hall and your county house authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. Let's pause it right there. Notice when I say keywords, so do not do a different version of that. Do not call up and say, hi, I'd like an MSC check. What are you asking for, tacos? No, you need to use these words, rent assistance because of COVID, all featured in the membership newsletter. Let's continue. Then, what's important to understand is that you must reach out to all 6 places. You must get multiple applications to file. And the multiple rounds, well, that's a little bit different. Let's go over all the details of that starting right now. Situations change by the minute, and let's look at what's changed. When third stimulus became law in January 2021, my viewers were ready. Why? Because I had trained them how. In December 2020, the year before, there was a little bit of this money out there. And I said, I'm going to train you to get it. And they did. The viewers of this channel got it in the thick of the pandemic when we all needed it very badly. $250,000, not a lot, but that's what we got. But I had a preview of this piece of legislation, third stimulus, in December 2020, before it became law in 2021. I said, I want to train you how to get it. I want to show you how to do it. And this is how you do it. And when it became law, the average viewer of this channel got 45,000. I said they could only get 15,000. They got 45,000. Then they got a round at the time, January 2021, 3 to 4 months of rent. Then last summer, the same thing, last Christmas. But then in recent weeks, what changed? They listened, and suddenly they took it for another notch. They said, you know what? I'm not going to do another round of 3 to 4 months. I'm going to do a whole year of MSC checks. The members of this channel invented this. They saw the opportunity to get a whole year of checks or more. That's what happened starting 2 weeks ago. So here is where the success stories come on in daily and hourly from this channel. And let me show you the success stories. They started about 2 weeks ago when this started to manifest itself. The March 25th recording of this show in prime time had a smorgasbord of success stories in the live chat. Daniel revealing he got $60,000 of MSC checks as a person on SSI. And he said, thank you, Ally, for your incredible help. You're a godsend. Corey, in that same live chat, getting $14,000 of rental assistance for 14 months. William J, in that live chat, getting $10,000 for 8 months. In less than 3 minutes of the March 25th recording of primetime, we had 3 viewers in total getting $100,000. It was not alone, because in other days we've had that success story repeat itself. March 21st, Lindsay Ramirez getting 12 months at $1,500. Olivia Summers getting $150,000 from 44 years, 48 checks. You heard me right, 48 checks of MSCs. David Allen getting 9 months of $1,500. Bean getting $16,000 over 8 months. Annabelle getting big sums of money. Morticia getting the same thing. Day after day, viewer after viewer, continue to win, and absolutely incredible. March 15th, Johnny Horvath getting $26,000, which amounts to 8 months. The day before that, March 14th, Brian Graves getting 8 months from Toledo, Ohio. Success stories after success stories. Simba getting $6,000, amounting to 4 months. Melly Pin on March 9th getting 8 months at $10,000. Carol Moore getting money as well. Success story after success. Here's what you need to know. It's number 1. It's available everywhere. Number 2, success involves rejection. The average viewer of this channel will get about a 50% rejection. So if you make one phone call, you get a no. That's good, because the average viewer of this channel will get about a 50% rejection. So let's continue with that graphic. You want to reach out to all the incredible places to get these big sums of money. You don't want to wait across the board. You want to get all these sums of money, and it involves by getting that membership newsletter. Why? Why does the membership newsletter help on this one? Because the membership newsletter also features the nonprofits. Yes, we just went over 6 places to reach out to, but guess what? There's more than 6. There's also nearly a half dozen nonprofits on top of that. The nonprofits you want to reach out to, so that in total, you'll have about 15 places approximately to reach out to. 50% rejection, 8 places. That's what happened to Johnny. He called 15 places. He got 8 places approved. He got $80,000. Push today, because the average view of this channel is getting $45,000. You need these big sums of money. Get it right today. This is Third Symbol's MSC check. Congratulations to all the incredible viewers. Average payout is $45,000. Do it today. Do not wait. It's huge. And congratulations to all the viewers who have listened and learned and got these big sums of money in recent days. With that, let's tee up now the sixth stimulus package. The sixth stimulus package is caused by Putin. Whoa. Yes. First stimulus package was because of COVID. Second was to be because of COVID. Third was coming out of COVID. Fourth is coming out of COVID. But the sixth stimulus package is caused by Putin. Why? Putin has caused economic disruption, and you need the sixth stimulus package. It started no less than about 3 weeks ago. When did it start, and why did it start? It started when the United States reached out to its progressive allies in France and Germany, Emmanuel Macron, and the Chancellor of Germany, saying, get off of those Russian products. They initially said no, and then the White House said, you morally must get off of them, and they said, okay, we'll do it by debt spending. We'll increase our national debt and then give stimulus to our citizens. And that teed up the progressive allegiance to get the sixth stimulus package done. What's the key date on this? And when would it likely heat up? It'll likely heat up in early April, because that's when one of the 3 progressive leaders, France's President Macron, learns if he gets reelected. If you do, then you have Macron, you have the German Chancellor, and you have Biden all teed up to get it done. What's fascinating when we talk about the sixth stimulus package is all the permutations and all the things that I've been reporting that were confirmed in the last 48 hours. I first reported to you 6 stimulus, I believe it was March 8th, 2022, when we heard the statement from Anthony Blinken that this is going to happen. Then I told you that the president was going overseas to Brussels to meet with the NATO alliances. But I didn't know in meeting with the G7 if he was going to mention anything about this. Here's, my friends, what happened. In 48 hours, the president has mentioned 1, 2, 3, 4 provisions of 6 stimulus and confirmed my reporting after and ever. What's at issue? 6 stimulus is for you because of Putin and oil. The president confirmed that overnight. 6 stimulus is also for you because of wheat. The president confirmed that the day before. 6 stimulus is also because of uncertainty about whether Putin will get money from China to evade those sanctions. The president's Treasury Secretary confirmed that overnight as well. My goodness, it's like a smorgasbord of confirmed reporting on this channel. Let's go over all the details of the sixth stimulus package. First, I want to tell you what it is. It will be the biggest stimulus package you've seen of this channel and of a generation. Before COVID, the largest stimulus package was the Obama-Biden bailing out the banking industry of day one of their administration. Then the second largest was the first stimulus package of COVID. This is likely to get bigger than that. Why? Because it's a bigger problem. You're going to see 3 parts to it. You're going to first see the international, France, Germany, and the United States. Then you're going to see the national version, Biden. You're going to see some ancillary versions. In fact, we saw them this last week. Yeah, sometimes good, sometimes a joke. Last week, we had Congress introduce a bill to have a monthly stimulus check that is literally laughable, because they said you can survive on $100 of gasoline a month. You can't survive a week on that. So you're going to see some laughable provisions across the board. You're also going to see some state stimulus. We've already seen that, where governors have introduced stimulus to their state legislators to provide you relief to get through this economy. I'm not going to cover on this channel, but all I want you to know is that sixth stimulus that will be covered here is the Biden stimulus. It's going to be huge. And again, why is this needed? It's because Putin has sent us into potential recessionary pressures. And if we don't solve them, we go into recession. What's at issue? It started no less than about 8 weeks ago, when I said that the price of oil is not sustainable into May. And if the level continues in the month of May, we go into recession. That was case in point no less than a few weeks ago. Well, the price of gasoline is still at a very all-time high, and it's not coming down at all. That is the first part of the equation. Also, the wheat and grain prices at 10-year high, that is not sustainable because if we see those continuing, we also go into recession. Also not sustainable is the uncertainty about the banking industry. If they are about to get a major hit because of devaluation of the Russian economy, then we also go in recession. Big problems across the board, and this is why all these need to be addressed. Let's go over each of them and the breaking details one at a time. First, major developing details on the oil front. And of course, this came from Brussels. As I had confirmed, the president was set to announce it. He just announced it sooner than I expected. The president of the United States, in meeting in Brussels, announced that he's giving his partner allies the solution to getting off of Russian products. Now, in the case of oil, there's lots of different type of oil, so I don't want to confuse you on this too much. But what the president did in Brussels was he announced a major deal to get his partner allies overseas off of Russian oil, and us as well. And how did he do it? Brilliantly. He gave them a big contract through 2030 to give the product that Putin would normally give them, which is natural gas from someone else. Who? Us, the United States. So let's look at this. The United States will now get big sums of money. You, the workers, us, the economy, us, our businesses, will do really well because new volumes of LNG, which is natural gas, will come from the United States. To who? The European Union. It was a deal announced on March 25th. And this will be massive. It'll be through 2030. It'll be huge barrels. The White House and the EU agreed that the White House will, through 2030, deliver 50 billion cubic meters of LNG per year. This is U.S. LNG. So our workers will make money off of this. This will also be an understanding that the prices should reflect long-term fundamentals and the stability of supply and demand. So the U.S. won't price gouge anyone else. So this is absolutely enormous. And there'll also be a task force called the Energy Security Task Force. So, number one, the White House got those partner allies off of Russian LNG by providing the United States LNG to them. This is understanding that we're going to make a lot of money on this. Great for U.S. economy, great for U.S. workers, because we will now supply all this product to the EU instead of the Russian economy providing it to them. That's number one. Number two, there's a second part of the equation, which is the other oil, the oil you get at the pump. The President of the United States is about to sign any moment a major deal with Iran. It's 15 years in the making. That deal involves getting Iran to agree to removing those, actually ending those big nuclear proliferations they were doing. In exchange for that, you're ready, here comes the breaking news, delivering 1.5 or 1.3 million barrels of gasoline per day. You heard me right, per day, by the end of the year, but starting at 500 million barrels in April and May. This will bring your price of gasoline down to its price point of nearly a generation ago. Yes, you're going to see gasoline plummet by April. It's a huge deal. It was negotiated between the French-German delegation on behalf of the United States and with Germany. Initially, the deal was set to formulate, and then Russia stepped in and said, oh no, don't do the deal, Iran. What was Russia worried about? Sergei Lavrov, the foreign prime minister for Russia, was concerned that if this deal was done, then Iran could not do any trade with Russia. The White House came back with clarification. No, you can still do you can still do trade. And with that, we had a deal. The deal was very clear that Iranian oil will be flooding the market internationally. Number one, flooding the United States internationally. Big deal. Huge amount of oil. And that Iran will not do any more nuclear proliferation. Also involved with the deal is the release of a UK citizen that's been detained by Iran for many years. Also part of the deal, the return of big money back to Iran that's been held in UK's hands, government hands for many, many years. So there you go. Your price of gasoline coming down. What may be problematic and confusing to you, and I'm going to explain for you right now, is that the international price of gasoline, which is the Brent crude price, has been surging out of control up, even though this deal is happening. I think this is just traders. I think it's just traders thinking that maybe the deal is going to fall apart. I don't think it's going to fall apart. Also confusing is that the price of gasoline, which is the AAA price of gasoline per day, it's all featured in the membership newsletter Monday through Friday, shows that the number's not coming down that much yet. That's because gasoline has landed. That's what I want to clarify for you across the board. Now, also great news is that when Joe Biden was in that big meeting in Brussels, he confirmed the second part of my recordings for 6 stimulus, which is wheat. You may have your gasoline solved to a cheaper price at the pump, but what about your price of a loaf of bread? You can't pay $7 a loaf of bread, and Joe Biden understands that. So he solved part one of this equation, which was the dependency on Vladimir Putin's for wheat, or at least Ukraine. What's at issue? Day one of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, I immediately started making countless recordings, hundreds of recordings, saying we have a major problem. 80% of the wheat that services the Middle East and neighboring regions comes from the Black Sea of region of Odessa. And that crop, those crops are no longer available this season. Because why? Their farmers are not harvesting the crops, they're defending their country. Next season's crop is lost because they can't prepare the soil. And they can't prepare the soil, then guess what? Then that season's lost. Also, seasons after seasons may be lost if they're cluster bombed. They're likely are being cluster bombed. So, what's happening? Since day one of the invasion, the price of wheat has been surging to 10-year highs. This is a subject matter that no one was talking about except me on E-News Lalate for 4 weeks, and I was deeply worried that the White House was not getting the message. Well, clearly some of the White House was watching this recording because suddenly, in Brussels, the first thing that Joe Biden confirmed from 6 stimulus was wheat. He said we need to get our partner allies wheat. And so what did he do? He used a long-standing provision that'll provide wheat for the United States overseas. This is huge. Now, is it a complete solution? I think he needs to do a little bit more. Wheat is very complicated, folks. First, you have to have the wheat, you have to have the crop seasons ready, and then you have to get it to somewhere. It's different than oil, which you just put in a tanker or put a barge and send over the globe. It's a little bit more problematic. Domestically, we can ramp up production to flood the market, but here's the situation right now. Shortage of wheat currently at hand, which is making the price of wheat go through the roof. Is that good for U.S. farmers? It may look good on the revenue side. If you're farming, you're selling your wheat, you're making a lot more on revenue, but here's the other part of the equation. This is why wheat's very confusing. Farmers in the United States are losing their shirt right now. Why? If they're making more on revenue, then how are they losing their shirt? On costs, yes. Farmers are losing their shirt on the cost side. Why? Because number one, costs more money to drive their tractor trailer and operate their instruments because they are run on, yep, you heard me right, oil. And with oil prices going through the roof, it costs a fortune to drive this truck you're seeing here. That's the first part of the equation. Second part of the equation is fertilizer. And boy, this one stinks. It stinks because the biggest provider for fertilizer internationally is, Vladimir Putin. Ugh, stinking like it's propaganda. So there you go. If the farmers are getting hit badly with big costs for oil and for fertilizer, then we have a triple whammo. And that is why wheat is a major selling point that the White House really needs to tackle in a bigger price point than just the wheat on the revenue side. Janet Yellen, your Treasury Secretary, then addressing part 3 of the 6 stimulus overnight. And what did she say? She said, we're watching China. At the moment, we don't fear anything from China. Let me tell you what the China part of the equation is. The China part of the equation is whether Xi will give money to Russia, which is asked for money from Russia, to undo our sanctions against Russia. This would be a major bad event in the United States economy. Why? Number one, if Xi does give money to Russia, we'll have to sanction Xi. If we sanction Xi, then we go into recession. If we go into recession, we have labor concerns. We also have major inflation because guess what? Products from China won't land here and nothing from Jay Powell will solve this type of inflation. Janet Yellen's comments overnight is that we don't have a problem yet with Xi. Yet. There you go. Now, let's turn to the next part of the equation, which is student loan debt forgiveness. Student loan debt forgiveness is heating up, and this has been a big telling point, a big campaign from Liz Warren and Chuck Schumer for a very long time. If you forgot what happened with student loan debt forgiveness, let me tell you. As soon as Joe Biden was elected, Liz Warren, Chuck Schumer, and other progressives asked Joe Biden to forgive $50,000 of student loan debt on day one of his administration by executive order. He didn't. Then they asked for more. He said, I'll do $5,000. They said, no, do more. Then he asked for the Education Secretary, Miguel Cardona, to do a memo about whether he legally can forgive it. We never saw that memo. It just disappeared by the wayside. So what is happening right now? We have new push to get that student loan debt forgiveness. And who does it come from? Ron Klain, the President Chief of Staff, confirming that student loan debt forgiveness will be decided by, drumroll, May 2nd. Yes, the President of the United States will decide student loan debt forgiveness by May 2nd. Why? May 2nd is a key date for students because your debts have not been had to be paid because of COVID and have been on freeze, but that freeze will fall off, will end on May 2nd. So Ron Klain, the President's Chief of Staff, says the President will decide whether to forgive student loan debts or to extend the freeze past May 2nd. That is huge, and what's important for you to know is that the student loan debt forgiveness has a new push tonight, and that new push comes from Obama's education secretary. He says that the president can legally forgive student loan debt. Here's part of the analysis that I want to tell you. A series of education analysts say that if the president forgives the student loan debt, which he can, then the way to unravel it, to undo it, would have to go by legislative vote, and there would not, repeat, not be enough votes to undo it. Joe, forgive the student loan debts. The Republicans and the Democrats, if there are any Democrats that want to undo it, they would not have the number of votes. There you go. That's the exciting details across the board. What a big night it is. And I promise a big surprise for you, and here comes a big surprise. I had told you that the membership newsletter would get a big special envoy this weekend. That big special envoy is because of the birthday celebration of this channel. I'm going to give you an extra day of newsletter just this weekend. What's at issue? Let's go over all the elements right now. The membership newsletter is normally delivered Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. That's Monday through Friday. Never delivered on the weekends. But because there's been so many new members in recent days who really want to get these third MSC checks, who really want to get these $15,000 to $80,000 homeowner grant checks across the land, I thought, you know what? On the weekend, you want to get your applications in. And so for a special anniversary issue, I said, let's do this weekend only, an extra newsletter delivery. And last Friday, I said, this weekend, I'll tell you when that membership newsletter is going to be delivered. Well, tonight, I'm going to tell you right now when that extra membership newsletter will be. It will be delivered this Sunday, March 27th, 2022, for one weekend delivery only at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So for the Sunday, viewers, get ready. This Sunday, March 27th, 2022, at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the YouTube alert system will deliver you an extra membership newsletter. It'll be on the weekend for one weekend only. Great news. So if you're not a member, become a member. The link's at the top of the chat and the pinned comment. Now, let's take a step back, and I have a little bit of commentary as well. Let's take a step back to the first stimulus package of early 2021. When that first stimulus package became a law, there was EIDLs that I helped viewers get $25 million of EIDLs, not $600 checks. The average viewer of this channel who got the EIDL loan got $150,000, and then the grants, they got $10,000, not $600. Then PUA. Viewers really fought hard to get that PUA, that Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, or that UI. I had a lot of viewers who were living in their cars fighting tooth and nail to get all those checks for that unemployment assistance. I had viewers like one out of Florida who battled for weeks to get it, and she got it, $15,000, $20,000. I had viewers like Kevin Lee who waited weeks and fought really hard to get it, making those calls, got every penny of it. That's the push, the true push of the Purple Power push. And they got it. That was first stimulus. When second stimulus was in the work between Nancy Pelosi and Steve Mnuchin, we thought we were going to get some money. It never became a law. Finally, third stimulus came around. And that third stimulus was the big selling point. I trained viewers how to get these big sums of money. Third stimulus had two types of people. The people who watch this channel, people who don't. People who don't watch this channel got a $14 stimulus check, automatic. The people who do watch this channel got on average $45,000. That's the difference. $45,000 versus $1,400. Yes. $1,400 may likely go in and out of your hands in just a few days. $45,000 takes several months to be run through. It's a big difference. As we look now at the situation, the landscape, it's how it's always been on this channel. The situation, the landscape right now is the initiative, the push of the Purple Power is getting those MSC checks. The Purple Power push is getting an average of $2,000 for 12 months. Incredible. Under those third stimulus MSC checks. If we look at fourth Forced stimulus, now law from Joe Biden, $15,000 to $80,000. The viewership of this channel, the members are getting these checks, averaging around the 66,000 range, like Mark got as well. And remember, Mark, he's the guy who got $100,000 from this channel earlier. That's the Purple Power push. That's the difference of you as a member, you as a viewer. You push, you get all your checks, you make the initiative. And with that, we look forward to April 25th, 2022, as this channel turns 2 years old. It's been an incredible run, and we continue to push. It's days like this that you look back and you say, if I had not read, if I had not researched, if I had not prepared and had all my binoculars open to look around that Friday 4 Fridays ago and found those $15,000, $80,000 checks, you would have never gotten it. That's what this channel's here for. If the members of this channel had not pushed and said, I'm not going to do another round of 3 to 4 months, I'm going to do a whole year, we would never have known that there's an opportunity to get an MSC check. That's a true body of this channel. So become a member and join me throughout the night, because shows continue throughout the night. With the 5 o'clock evenings Lalate in prime time, America's most watched show for financial news in prime time. The 6 o'clock evenings countdown. The 7 o'clock stream stimulus. The 8 o'clock evenings extra. The 9 o'clock evenings sunset. And then our overnight shows starting at 10 o'clock. Stay informed, stay focused. Our prayers are with Ukraine, and we'll see what happens as this war continues into its second month. There's a reason why you watch this channel, because everything I predict happens. 6 stimulus. Everything I said the president was going to address, he addressed. Wheat, oil, and G. When we talk about SS300, everything I predicted for inflation happened. 8% in December, 8% in January, not temporary. And everything that we had hoped for 7th stimulus now heating up, with student loan debt forgiveness going to the front burner once again. It's a big night, and I want you here every single night. So make sure you don't miss a recording, because if you miss a recording, you may miss a check. I'm going to use this as a final example to end. I always talked about the Purple Power push, push, push. What was that? It was invented by me in 2021, where I said, first come, first serve. You have to push and pounce as a Purple Hawk, because the money may not be around. That's where the expression Purple Hawk came from. The expression I invented first was Purple Hawk, that you have to pounce like a hawk, because once the money goes live, it's not there indefinitely. When we look at those $80,000 of checks, I'm not going to feature on this video, this channel, the one state that is now in waiting lists, because it should not be your concern. If you watched every video of this channel every single day, you pounce as soon as it became law. You don't want to wait around 4 more weeks, because your state may run out of money. As a viewer, you become a member. You pounce and get all those sums of money, whether it's 3rd, whether it's 4th, whether it's 7th, whether it's 1st. We've been doing it like day one. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a beautiful evening. Our blessings and prayers with the people of Ukraine, and stay with LA for more.